You get 2 wraps, one for each hand obviously. Let's have a look at wrapping the left hand first. Either or, it doesn't matter. Unwrap the wrap. Okay, you've got a loop at the end of the wrap. That's for our thumb. If you look at the wrap, you've normally got this side where it's a little bit open, and this side where it's just flat. So what we're going to do is we're going to loop it over. What we do is we go under the wrist here. So we're going from this angle here. We don't go straight into the hand. We don't go this way over the top. So we get loose on the hand, let it dangle down to the floor, the flat bit against the wrist, and wrap around. We want to wrap around 2 or 3 times, and we're going to come down to about here. So 2 or 3 times, wrap around. Now the thumb's really important. There's a lot of injuries with it. When you punch, if your thumb's slightly far away, it can clip it. So wrapping the thumb, I find is quite important. Not everybody likes it, but let's have a look at wrapping the thumb in. Gives you a little bit more protection. So we're coming up under the thumb, over the thumb, nice and tight, back around the wrist, and again up over the thumb. Make sure you keep the wrap flat. We don't want to get tied up in the glove. So we've gone around the wrist and around the thumb. So now we're going to go over the hands. It's really important that you keep your fingers open. If you wrap your hands with the fingers closed, when you clench your fists, your knuckles are squashed together. When you punch, you're going to damage your hand. So it's really important that you keep your fingers open. You will see some guys wrapping in about the fingers. I'm not a big fan of that, but each to their own. Do it a few times, see what you feel like. I find it grazes the inside of my fingers, so I don't really like it. So then we're going over the hand. Rather than wrap the knuckles, we want to go up to the first knuckle of your fingers. The reason being, if you wrap just your knuckles here, when you open your fist, your knuckles are free, so you're not getting any protection. So what we're doing is we're coming up over the fingers, up to about the first knuckle. Again, keep it reasonably tight, 3 or 4 times. And then what we want to do is we want to cause as many crossovers as we can. And that's just to give the support for the wrist. So I'm going to go back, as I say, keep the wrap nice and straight. Back around, up, around the knuckles again, back down, get the crossover, keeping it tight. Again, get another crossover, around the fingers. We can get one more. And what we want to do is we want to finish with the Velcro closing around the wrist. Again, if you mistime it, sometimes you'll get the Velcro in the hand. It's not a big deal, but it can be uncomfortable in the glove. So it's always better to try and finish at the wrist. And that nice little finish gives you a little bit extra support. Okay, left hand, right hand, very similar. Unwrap your wrap. Get your little loop. Again, flat side down. Put it over your thumb, let it hang down. See, so the flat bit's on the wrist, around the wrist, 3 or 4 times around the wrist. Back up. It was important to go anti-clockwise this time, so we can get the thumb in. So around again. Just keep wrapping, fingers open. Around the top, up to the first knuckle of the fingers. Keeping it tight, but not too tight that you cut the circulation off. Around the thumb again. Around the hand, around the wrist. And we need to get as many crisscrosses as we can. Let's get a couple more if we can. One more. And the knuckles. And crisscross back down. And finish at the wrist, where our Velcro is waiting. Okay, same deal as with the right hand, our palms free. Nice grip, not too tight, good protection. As I said, you can do it with the tape as well if you wish. It's entirely up to you, but prevention is better than cure, it's worth it. In order to give the wrap a little bit more protection, it's quite a good idea to get some zinc oxide tape. Reasonably cheap, you can get it online. Just gives you a little bit extra support, especially for those hardest hitters. So what we're going to do is, when I put it onto the hand, we're going to go in a clockwise rotation, round 2 or 3 times around the wrist. Again, I want to add the thumb back in again, round again, up over the thumb again, keeping them fingers spread, up over the hands, a couple of wraps around the knuckles, just below the knuckle. The actual rule for a pro boxer is 1 inch below, but you don't need to worry too much about that. Back around the wrist a couple of times, snap it off, just pat it in, and what that does is just give you a lot more protection. For those big hitters out there who want a little bit more protection, so we're just going to use a regular sponge. What we want to do is we want to place it on the hand. Let's come up to the first knuckle of the fingers again, not just over the knuckles, so you get some protection from it. And all we've done is unwind the wrap slightly, put it in position, and we can move it once you get the first wrap in, we can move it so it's in the right position. So, and then we just want to come through tight with the wrap. And wrap it around, get that crisscross, get the fingers spread. And just lock it in place. So in order to keep the sponge where it is, we obviously want to use a little bit more tape. Again, you can use the regular zinc oxide. I've got some special ones, a little bit thinner, which I quite like. So, small amount. Because we've wrapped, so we've got a free palm, just slide it underneath in position, and then we're going through the middle finger. We're clenching our fist to get in position, and then bringing it down. And we're going to do that with each gap that we've got. So underneath, coming over the top, second finger, clench your fist, and bring it down. Doesn't matter if it's a bit too long, I'll pull some hairs out. And the last one, underneath, bring it through the last gap, clench the fist, and bring it around. Okay, so now that's in position. Now we can put the tape, and we administer the tape the same way as we did before. Going in a clockwise rotation, around the wrist, reasonably tight, but not tight enough to cut your circulation off. Under the thumb, around the hand, under the thumb, keeping the fingers spread, come around the main bit of your hand, and then back. Clenching it off, clenching it in. So as you'll see now, we've got a nice bit of protection. Prevention is better than cure, obviously. It's better to give your hands as much protection as you can. If you're in a box, it's all about your hands. It's all about looking after your hands. This gives a good, solid protection for your hands and at minimal cost. Obviously, you don't have to go to the tape and the sponges, and that's just adding extra, but it is worth it if you can punch a bit.